TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villian Report, and Red Zone Rank. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Brosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and M.M.Maniacs. The nightly shows are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle Podcast, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, Off the Rails, and Detroit Lions News. Hope you like all the shows. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe.
Hey, my name is Ray Flores. I'm a proud and loyal member of the First and 10 Tailgate. You're listening to First and 10 with my man, the main man, Foz.
First and 10 with Foz, Chicago Bears in the mix. Rapping about football, no room for politics. From the Windy City, we bring the fire. This podcast hot, raising the bar higher. Touchdown after touchdown, we never settle for less. Breaking it down with Foz, we always bring our best. First and 10 with Foz, dance in the crowd, cheering loud and proud. Our spirits never bow. We rep that navy blue and orange, no room for doubt. Chicago Bears legendary, no team can knock us out. No team can knock us out.
When I'm in Chicago, always a Foz.
For display. Hitting hard like a linebacker, making our way. Foz leading the charge, taking us to the top. Chicago Bears legacy, we can never stop.
What's up, Bears fans? Episode 43, First and 10 and Foz, here with the man, Maxwell, as always. How we doing tonight, sir?
Good. How about you?
Living the dream, my friend. Getting back to Canton. Still tired as fuck. Looking to get back to reality.
Washing that hangover out of your hair?
Still squishing around in my feet from the rainy weekend, but I'm doing good. First and 10 with Foz brought to you by the fantastic beer, the fantastic food always, for the people over at Bedrocks in Short and Romeoville.
Bedrocks Pizza, the place to be. Hard rock tunes and craft beers for me. Crowd is roaring, the atmosphere's hot. We'll party hard, give it all we've got. This place is our sanctuary. Shout it loud, let the music play. Bedrocks Pizza, we're here to stay. Good times and memories never before. Under the neon lights, we're all stars.
All right, guys, as talked about on my last show, Caleb Cares, charity this year, my friends. Throw $1, throw 50 cents out, man. All adds up. Looking for a goal of $14,000 by the end of the season. Let's support our brand new quarterback on and off the field this year. People, come on. Give me a quarter. Give me 50 cents. Give me something. All right. What do we got on the docket tonight, Maxwell? As you guys saw in the opening, Huddle Sports Network. I'll be coming on Huddle Sports Network all year. You can download the app on the Fire Stick, on Roku, 24/7, all sports podcast. Really effing cool. On top of that, First and 10 tailgating was in Canton, Ohio this weekend, the Tailgate Hall of Fame. And we came home back-to-back champions of the food competition. Last year, Brisket, Rafael Gomez brought home the belt. And this year, Mr. Bear Mysterio brought it home for the chicken wings, my friend. And it was pretty awesome, man. I mean, We had some competition out there, dude. We had Philly. We had Buffalo. The Browns put together, Detroit put together some good wings, man. It was pretty steep competition, man.
It's a little shameful Buffalo didn't win the wing competition, but
yeah, I mean,
hey, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You made the tastiest wings.
Yeah, we were shocked, man. There was definitely some competition, but we came home with the victory, and I guess that's all that matters at the end of the day, right?
That's right.
Other than that, I don't know if you guys saw earlier today, I accepted a new position with ESF as Chief Operating Officer. So stepping up the ranks at ESF into their leadership board, I'm really happy about being part of the organization. A lot of changes happening in the future. I appreciate Tiffany for giving me the opportunity, and looking forward to that down the line.
Didn't know I sit next to Triple H over here. No kidding. That's awesome.
Stop it. All right. Other than that, dude, the Bears Hall of Fame weekend, man. Dude, Devin Hester had me in tears numerous times. God damn it, Devin Hester, man. When he got his jacket and he broke down with his stepfather, and then when they saw his bust on stage and everything. How'd you feel about the Devin Hester experience this week?
Super emotional. I mean, it was great. It was a great speech. I'm a pretty tough sell on a cry, but yeah, dude, I got a little bleary-eyed for a couple seconds. He was talking about his kids and stuff. I mean, he's one of the best Bears of all time. He's a legend, and just to see him going in, it was enough. But then he give a great speech like that, it was over the top with awesomeness.
You know, and I was kind of worried about him giving a speech. Devin Hester during his playing years wasn't the best on the mic with the media, with words and everything. But I think he put together a really nice speech, and he touched on all the points and the coaches. Yeah. How about when he said Lovie Smith, man?
Oh, yeah.
That place went crazy, dude. They were chanting Lovie for like a half an hour, man.
Now, do you think that's because he was such a good coach, which he was with the Bears, or because he sealed us up that #1 pick?
I think it's a combination of everything.
Yeah,
Lovie,
no,
man.
definitely. No,
I mean, he was never a bad coach to where when they got rid of him, everyone was like, thank God he's gone.
Oh,
Everyone's like, what are you doing getting rid of Lovie? I mean, so.
Yeah.
And then since he's been gone, he still showed love towards the Bears after all.
Yeah, give us a nice gift.
Especially setting us up at the Texans for that #1 pick.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Going forward on.
He was helping the Bears more than when the Bears were helping the Bears.
100%.
Other than that, Steve McMichael getting his bus, his jacket, super cool, man. I mean, them bringing everything to his house, the situation.
Yeah.
Kind of sad to where you saw he couldn't react too much to it. Everything was basically eye contact. I mean, ALS, what a son of a bitch of a disease, man. Absolutely horrible.
I mean, it's one of the worst, if not the worst.
Yeah.
It's just cruel and awful. And I heard someone else say it, and I think everyone would agree. The biggest shame of it all is he couldn't be there to talk, because his speech would have been unbelievable. And it's sad. I'm so happy that he got in, and he well deserved. But it's a damn shame too at the same time.
Yeah, a couple of years earlier, man, he easily should have gotten in, was eligible again, and could have went out there and gave the funniest, most electric story, shit talking, funny,
ridiculous,
pick it on people's speech ever known to man, and it would have been
ridiculous,
just so epic, dude.
Absolutely,
just so epic. So, but it was awesome. Misty went out there and represented him for him very well, getting the jacket, then getting back home, and then the Mongo Hall Ball on Friday night raised a ton of money for ALS and the Mongo organization. So that's fantastic. Chuck it up as a win. He's still alive. He got the Hall of Fame, and he knows he's in the Hall of Fame, and he will now live forever, and that's all that matters. So, Julius Pepper came out and gave his nods to the Bears. Said he went back home for Carolina, but then kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit, saying he ended his career, the best 3 years of his career in Green Bay, and kind of got shot down a little bit there at the end by everyone.
Well, that was a pretty Bears heavy induction, and the crowd was pretty blue and orange. So yeah, it's not the sharpest thing in the world to say. I mean,
I don't know if I would have said the best 3 years of my career were at the end after everything you accomplished with the Panthers and the Bears.
Yeah. Whatever. Hey, man, maybe they gave him the biggest check. Hell, I don't know.
You know, McMahon said that too when he went to Green Bay too. He said he loved it in Green Bay. I mean,
well, listen, as much as we like to rip on it, it is a really dedicated fan base out there. There's no doubt about it.
It's a good organization.
They put one of the best in football. They put a constant winner on there. I mean, they don't always do things the right way. They seem to piss away quarterbacks a lot, but they know how to develop them, but they seem to also not put anything around them when they want it. But whatever, man. He's a Hall of Famer. He was here for 3 years. He didn't do it long.
He's got a gold jacket. He can say and do what he wants now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bears and Texans game rained out in the third quarter. Victory default. We'll take it, though.
Yeah.
Not too much to talk about. Unless you want to talk about QB2s like we love to talk about.
I already do.
QB all week, dude. All week.
As soon as I woke up, I said, I know exactly what I'm going to see all over every social media today about people loving Brett Rippon and all this. It's like, come
Rippon and Bajan now, dude. We have Caleb Williams, the number 1 draft pick, and 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And we spent a week talking about QB2.
Yeah, what was the? I even have to look it up. Colin Johnson. Yeah, hey, listen, good for him and good they came out and played great against 5th-string defensive players. I mean, great. So it's better than looking bad against them. But like, come on, the guy's a journeyman. I mean, he never.
Dude, Colin Johnson though, if that's going to be our wide receiver 5 or 6.
Yeah, no, listen,
I'll take it all day long.
He's a young guy still. You know, he'll be on your practice squad for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. A 5 or 6 or 7 wide receiver, and we cut Billy Jones, whatever, fine. But you know, people were wetting themselves the next morning after the performance. Like, come on, you don't even realize who they were playing against. I mean, there's 50% I feel is never going to see an NFL football field. Yeah. So let's not get nice for them, but let's not get over the top with it already.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, besides that, Roshan Johnson looked extremely solid.
He's a name I wrote down.
He's going to be a strong, I think, number 2, and I think him and Swift 1 and 2, and I think Herbert's definitely gonna be number 3.
I thought it was pretty telling that Khalil Herbert was playing a lot in a Hall of Fame game with no offensive line in front of him. It was interesting. I mean, he's kind of not a made guy, but I mean, he's been around long enough to where he should probably have the veteran night off. It was interesting.
Like I said, that's where it's swinging, man. I think he's going to be 3rd-string running back, my friend.
It's fine. It's fine.
Going into this week, we have our 3rd preseason game. Most people's only 2nd, but now our 3rd. Going against the Buffalo Bills. And tonight to have this god of a man, this legend of a super fan on the show. Anyone who knows anything about the Buffalo Bills or their fandom or tailgating, you have heard the name Pinto Ron before. And if you haven't, just type Pinto Ron into Google and prepare to have the time of your life reading all these great stories. Tonight on the show, it's our pleasure to have on it Ken Johnson, better known as Pinto Ron. Pinto Ron,
good to be here
tonight, sir.
How's it going, man?
Ken, Pinto Ron. How many names? You got a ton of names out there, right?
They all call me
the
Kenny
Messiah.
The party. Pinto Ron is for people all the way around the country. My mom calls me Ken.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Your friends call you Ken, right, buddy?
My friends usually call me Kenny. My mom calls me Ken. Everyone else Pinto Ron.
There we go. So, Ken, you got quite a streak, my friend. I did a little research. I'm a fan of fans, so having you on the show, I'm super excited, my friend. So you haven't missed watching a Bills game since 1982. Is that correct?
I haven't missed watching or listening to a Bills game real time, radio, TV, whatever, since 72.
Since 72, okay.
Oh
my home game streak starts in 84. Every game streak, minus the COVID year misses, starts in 94.
So how many games in a row is that right now for
That's Cal Ripken status.
Right now I'm at 485.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't count preseason games, though. That's just practice tailgating.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I completely understand.
There had to be a close call in there a time or two where we almost maybe missed one or was a little too hungover to make one up.
No, there never was a close call because I've got all kinds of safety interlocks built in. Like I have to be within driving distance of a National Football League stadium 24 hours ahead. And I have my tickets on 3 different cell phones. And I just got so many silly, ridiculous rules.
You plan wife birthing and children around the off season.
Yeah. My kids know. I got 3 of them. If they get married during the fall, there's a 50% chance I'm going to miss their weddings. You know?
Hey, they chose to have that wedding then. That is not your fault, sir.
That's true. 2 of them are married now, and they got married in the spring and summer, not the fall. I mean, if my mother dies, you know, that's what they make ice for if it's in an inappropriate time.
Legend, man. Legend.
Wow.
There's more of me around. There's a road warrior from Chicago I run into all the time. He's got a streak going back to 92.
He sure does, my friend.
His name is Paul. You know who he is, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Paul the Road Warrior, my friend.
He's actually got my ticket for the Chicago game. I'm sitting with him for this upcoming preseason game.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Very cool. Dude, Paul's the man, dude. I love Paul. Yeah. I got to get him on the show. I've been trying to get him on the show. He's not too technologically advanced like yourself, but we made you work, Ron. So we're gonna get him on. So I'm gonna have him come to the house. I'll have a couple beers.
I can give him a little peer pressure.
There we go.
Very social media literate myself. It's kind of funny because I was a high-tech software developer. I mean, and my specialty was digital image processing. So I can tell you how this video is going over the wire. I can tell you the compression routines. I can do all kinds of stuff. But I can't log into your show very easily.
Hey, you know the science. That's all that matters.
Right. And I'll give them a little peer pressure to get on your show this weekend.
Tell them. Don's been giving them crap. Now you got to give them crap. It'll be fantastic, my friend. Get them from all angles. Peer pressure. So before all these streaks started, before the legend of Pinto Ron, man, obviously there was a birth of the fandom, my friend. So what started you being such a huge Buffalo Bills fan? Where did it all begin?
Well, I mean, I was born in the Buffalo area, Western New York. That's where it all began. I mean, you got to wonder, people from Western New York, if you're not a Bills fan, that's what you got to ask them. Why aren't you a Bills fan? Right. But I really started getting invested into watching all the games pretty heavily. Probably about 68. I think I was only 10 or 11 at the time. And I kept, we'd go over to my grandparents' house all the time for Sunday, and they were rooting against the Bills. It's like they're Bills fans, but they want the Bills to lose at the end of the season. And that really made that I was furious. I just didn't like that concept at all. So I started really heavily emotionally getting invested in the game just to shut these people up or just to see them mad when the Bills would win. Well, it turns out we lost most of our games that year. We were 1-13 or 1-12, however many games we played. And decades later, I found out what the story was. They were rooting for the #1 overall draft pick, which was O.J. Simpson. But I didn't know that at the time. I was just a stupid 11-year-old kid who couldn't understand the concept of wanting to lose a game. Oh, by the way, I still don't understand the concept. But that's how I got into it. And so I just really got into it. So, I'm going through my teenage years. And, every Sunday I'd be parked in front of the TV or radio. And just as the decades went by, I just got more and more into it.
I've always wondered, especially because I wouldn't call myself a super fan at all. I'm more cynical than everyone. But you both can answer this. Is there ever a time though where like you had those lean seasons, those bad years, where you said this is enough, I can't take it anymore? Like some of those stretches of lean seasons were just terrible. The 3-13, the 2-14.
That's where the tailgating saves it for me. How about you, Ron?
Yeah, the same thing. I don't. By the way, I also don't like the term super fan. Cool. That doesn't sit well with me. Fair. I think everyone's a super fan. But a good Bills fan, I always say, has to be in a constant state of denial, especially during those lean years. So I'd go into each and every week convinced we were going to win the game. I'd figure out a way that we were going to. I don't care if it was we're playing the Super Bowl champs and we hadn't won one in 10 games. This was going to be the game. So it's just I was always in a constant state of denial during any lean years.
Nothing wrong with that.
And he's still alive. He still has all of his hair, everything. Oh man. So Ken, going to so many games and so many years of watching, being at games, can you give me a moment, maybe a couple that really stand out at like the top of your memory of being at, experiencing a specific game, a specific something happened that you're like, oh man, I'm going to remember that forever?
Yeah. My favorite game of all time, it was a long time ago because I'm old, but it was the AFC Championship game where Buffalo, won the game and were going on to their first Super Bowl. And the reason why that game sticks out so much to me, you could really party in the stadiums back then. It's not like it is today. Yeah. But we were winning something like 42-3 at halftime. So there is an entire half of football left, and you're going to the Super Bowl. So that stadium was just a giant party for an entire half. That was one of the most awesome experiences I ever had.
That was 90, right? Was 90 their first?
Yeah, that would have been the 90 season. It led to the 1991 Super Bowl. That's where Norwood, wide left.
Yes.
I know you want to correct me. You want to tell me it was wide right, but I was sitting in the end zone and the ball.
I thought you were going to go with the old Oilers, the big comeback game.
Yeah, that's another memorable game. It's memorable, that's for darn sure. But it wasn't very enjoyable for the first quarter and a half or 2.5
the opposite of your previous game.
Yes, especially that's good memory, because we got just crushed by that team the previous game, and then they're crushing us again. Kelly wasn't playing in that game, and halfway through the third quarter, we couldn't stop them if we tried. They had no reason to believe that they weren't going to score another 4 touchdowns. When Buffalo scored their first touchdown to the comeback, the first of 4 within 8 minutes, I didn't even get up and cheer. It was just like I don't like consolation touchdowns. They scored the second one, and it was still like, eh. Then they scored the third one, and it started to pique my interest a little bit, although we still couldn't stop Houston if we didn't try. And then they just, what happened? We scored the next one, got close. Then nothing happened for a whole quarter, and then the very end, the last-minute field goal. So, yeah, it was very memorable, but I can't say it was my favorite.
No, I get you.
2.5 quarters. My favorite games were always ones where we blow out teams, not where it's close,
I agree, but then you get a little nervous when they start giving that little third quarter comeback, and we've all been as football fans, we've all seen that before.
Where they're coming back and losing the third quarter, even though the probability's low.
Yeah.
But
it always makes me nervous if we jump to too quick of a lead, quick, like a 21-point lead in the first quarter and a half, because that always seems to be trouble. You kind of lose your edge.
Yeah,
you lose your adrenaline, and not me up in the stands, but those guys down there playing do. And they always come back. They might not make it, usually don't, but I don't like those games,
Oh, I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the tailgating legend, my friend, when did that all begin? Obviously, there's so much to talk about. The Pinto, the bowling ball, the covered in ketchup and mustard. And I want to talk about all of them. When they started chronologically, and how did they start? So what was the first? Was it the cooking on the Pinto? Was that the first thing? Is that what started?
Yeah, well, we were always up to shenanigans, me and a small crew. We're always up to some crazy little things, some rituals and stuff like that. The first thing that you know me for now, or that I'm known for now, that started back then, it was about '89. That was the first time we threw something on the hood of the car, one grill, and started cooking. What started that was I had in mind I wanted to have the perfect bacon double cheeseburger. And so my idea was to have a flaming grill. So I was going to build a wooden grill, which I did, plywood underneath, a couple of 2x4s, put a metal grate on the top. And that's where I was going to cook my burger. The entire grill was going to be on fire.
Yeah.
But I never put legs on it, so I kept bending over. And it's like it was getting to be a pain in the ass. I kept burning my beard up, flipping my burger. So I decided to move it to the top of the hood, which was a good-looking car at the time. It was only 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old. And I thought, it'll be okay. This plywood won't burn through. Well, it did burn through. There was a little tiny spot on my car. It's like it really pissed me off. I didn't like that. And I sat there and I was sitting there thinking, during the off season, this was halfway through the season. During the off season, I'm going to have to take the hood off, buff it down, and repaint it. So I thought, okay, let's try this again next week. So I used 3/4 inch plywood. I figured now we're going to do it, but that burnt through and made it even bigger. So after that, for the next couple of weeks, I just threw a small metal grill on top of the hood, those type you get in gas stations, and cooked, my burgers on that, but still thinking I was going to, repair the burger or fix the hood during the off season. Well, I never actually fixed the hood. And the next season, I started a second grill, one for the bacon, one for the burger, and then within 2 or 3 seasons, I had 6 grills on there doing, Army helmets with chicken wings, and so I just turned a saw into the bacon grill and rakes for hamburgers and hot dogs. And then it was a few years later that we started a few things off to the side, maybe about the year 2000. That's when we started the pizza oven, Pizza Pete, and the wheelbarrow where we cooked pulled pork and soup, and the mailbox with the jerk chicken. And by about 2002 or 2003, it was pretty framed out what you see right now.
Dude, I told you, this man's a legend, dude. I definitely want to come tailgate with you, my friend. It's a dream, my friend. It'd be like a trip to Disney World for me at this age. The ketchup and mustard. When did that all begin? The covering of the ketchup and mustard, and how did that start?
All of this stuff started at about the same time. It didn't look early on like it looks right now. The ketchup and mustard just started because I had my burger, that same one I'm cooking on a flaming grill, and I needed some ketchup for it, so I held my arm out, and my brother had the ketchup, and he just shot it about 6 inches, caught me by surprise, ricocheted off perfectly. And we're like, whoa, so that became a thing. So every time I needed ketchup, I'd hold my arm out to the side, and he tried to shoot it, ricochet it off. The idea was to ricochet it off the burger, get nothing on me, but the perfect amount on the burger. And then we put another guy, we had him start standing on the car, shooting down. Same thing, arm is out. So a couple of years are going by. And then it started to become about height and distance. And so it become, ketchup is, he was shooting this thing 20 or 30 feet, and I'm running around trying to get it without getting anything on me. But now we're starting to get ancillary damage. So I started to paper towel here, by about 2000, we had him on a van. And then we had a girl doing mustard too. And it was getting to the point where he was actually, trying to get me, even though I was trying not to. So I was getting quite a bit on me. So I had to develop a cleanup routine. I think I did that in 2002. 10 minutes right at the van doors. It's easy. After I'm done, the only thing you see is some wet hair. But once I developed that cleanup routine, I suddenly realized it didn't matter what they got on me. It took exactly the same amount of time to clean up. So I knew what the people wanted to see. So go have at it. That's when I started piling 3 ketchup guys and 3 mustard girls, and so that was it.
So awesome.
Again, this is over 34 years of evolution. It wasn't like I had this blueprint in 1989 that says I'm going to do this. 30 years is a long time. Things evolve.
It's the legend of Pinto Ron.
Oh, absolutely. What's the drink of choice out of the bowling ball?
It's a cherry liqueur called Viznuka.
Okay.
It's always been the same stuff. It tastes like cough syrup with a kick. It's just god awful stuff, especially when it's warm. I always tell people if I'm going to give something away for free, it's going to hurt. And
sure.
But that all started from a shenanigan again. Again, I think it was 1990. All origins from the same year. And one of the things we had is we had a particular shot glass that we would do shots from at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. 4 or 5 of us would gather around and do our 9 o'clock shot or 10 o'clock shot. There was 3 different times we had picked out, and somebody early on one day dropped the shot glass and broke it. And we're obsessive compulsive. We have to have our shots. Got to do it. So we're running through the car looking for a Dixie cup, running around to see if anyone's got a shot glass in the area. Shot glass, and somebody looked in my back seat and saw the bowling ball and said, "Look, maybe we can use this for this game." So we got out the bowling ball and used the thumb hole for the shot. I call it a 16-pound shot glass now. And the bowling ball was actually in the car. On account of the fact one of our rituals was at the end of the day, we always had glass bottles of beer. You could do this back then. And we'd line them up like bowling pins, and we'd all, start rolling the bowling ball at it until they were all smashed. And when they were all smashed, then we'd all walk into the game. So we had the bowling ball for that reason. So we used that as our shot glass for that game. I vowed that, I told them I was going to get a shot glass. We'll be okay for next week. And just like buffing the Pinto hood out, I never got a shot glass, and it became what you see today. Now I go through, I'd say 12 to 15 bottles per game out of the thumb hole of that bowling ball.
Oh God.
Ken, we suck at tailgating. Everyone out there sucks except for Pinto Ron, man. We have nothing on you, sir. We're not worthy.
Well, it's all about how long
damn,
I've been
it's
doing
awesome.
it. I mean, you're still youngins. I think you're youngins. I don't know.
I'm 40.
Well, compared to me, you're youngins. But I always say, how did I get to be so well known? And if you do something dumb enough, stupid enough, long enough, you get known for it. Dumb, stupid, don't stop, and you'll be where I am 30 years from now.
We have our fun traditions like the Chicago handshakes, which is Malort old style, and the Hallis Tower, racing off, chugging, but doing shots from bowling balls.
But who knows what all that's going to evolve with?
Yeah, man. It seems every year.
Kind of innocent stuff when I started it.
You're cooking chicken and mailboxes, man. That's that's unheard of.
Bowling ball sounds better than Malort. I'm sure.
How old is this bowling ball?
The bowling ball I'm using right now, I got out of the garbage in 1995. Garbage day, and I saw it. I needed a backup bowling ball, so I grabbed it. I have a backup of everything. And during the Stanley Cup Finals, we lost the original bowling ball. Somehow somebody told me they packed it. They never packed it. It got lost at the stadium. So yeah, that bowling ball has been with me since '95. I have another backup bowling ball too, by the way. That's the one that was. I think you might have seen it this weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my current backup ball. I sent it out with Captain Buffalo to the wing contest.
So we actually beat the Buffalo guys in wings competition this weekend. I saw Pinto Ron's hood was there.
We
I was
opted,
a little worried when I saw that. I was like, oh,
we
shit.
opted not to follow any of the rules and just go with the shock and awe package. So we weren't officially entered because
You're
we have to put it in
Buffalo.
the
You
paint
can do
trick.
whatever you want.
Like,
You create the wings.
Yeah, that's
my
almost
friend.
unfair. You've got like the old pizza oven that's been around since '82.
Yeah.
It's like already
Well, the
pre-seasoned.
Yeah, the pizza. Oh, you're talking about your pizza oven.
Your hood, no, your hood.
Oh, that hood. I have to put the new hood on the car. It kind of burns through about once every 15 or 20 years.
Sure.
And so I opted to do it this year. I've had a backup hood for 15 years, and I thought, if the next one lasts 15 years or so, that means I'll be like 83 or 84.
Well, that's why they lost. It wasn't a preseason hood. That's why.
Yeah, so I sent it up there. So that hood was the hood that was on my car for the last 15 years. I changed the hood to a different hood, one that I got in the junkyard 15 years ago. Put it on just a few weeks ago. So I sent it up there to cook our chicken wings on it, where they should be cooked, on the hood of the Pinto.
Of course.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We're not worthy, Pinto Ron. We're not worthy, sir. So amazing. So, Ken, with the evolution of God, since you've been tailgating and being a big fan like you are throughout the years, you see the evolution of how things have come today and the fan stay and all the different tailgatings and how things have grown. What's your thoughts on like today's situation as far as like all like the big fans and the tailgating situations?
Well, the biggest change between when I started all this in, the 80s, or started getting really serious going to games, and today is just social media in general. It's extremely easy to go on a road trip right now and gather a whole pile of fans from your team all in one place. Maybe a Saturday night party. It's extremely easy to become recognizable like me because of social media. And that's been the biggest change. Right now, I'll go out to Houston. We got a tailgate location picked out. We got a Saturday night party picked out. We'll probably have about 2,000 people at the Saturday night party. We'll probably have about 1,000 or 2 at the tailgate. That could never have happened 30 years ago. If we got 30 or 40 people in the parking lot, that would be amazing because it's just too hard to get people to gather together. Back then, I had kind of a scam I used to use. I remember I think was it Chicago? Yeah, Chicago one time. I used to bring the bowling ball, have maybe a person or two with me, and you couldn't really gather. But I used to pull into the parking lot and look for the biggest crowd of, say, Chicago fans that I could find. And that's still, maybe a tailgate party with 30 people or so. I could see them grilling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We'd park fairly close to them, but not too close. And then I'd get out the bowling ball and I'd make sure to do a bowling ball shot. I'd do it slow, deliberate. I'd take a long time. Somebody from that group would see me doing that, wondering what I was doing. And then I'd wait a few minutes and then I'd do it again. And sure enough, somebody from the group would break away and ask me, what was this? What's going on? And I'd explain, oh, no, this is just a 16-pound shot glass. And they'd do it. And I go, no, come on, you got to show my buddy this. And the next thing you know, I'd be sucked into the Chicago Bears tailgate party, dining me, feeding me. Oh, it cost me a single bottle of Vishnuka.
Why is there a mailbox that smells like delicious chicken on fire? What are you doing over here, sir? You're a mad scientist, Ken. You're a mad scientist of tailgating. I love it, man. I love it. Missed the opportunity last year to tailgate with you. I know you were coming out to 1st and 10, and that was the absolute worst friggin' game last year. The Buffalo versus the Bears right before Christmas.
Oh yeah, that was really.
It was like cold. Negative 30 degrees, and 1st and 10. We're not a for-profit like business where we make money off of tailgating or anything. So we're just a bunch of friends with families and stuff who get together. So
that's what I like the most, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I have my best times when there's only 20 or 30 people, or even fewer, and we're just chugging some beers just before a game.
Man.
I don't get to experience that much anymore because I get mobbed wherever I go. But
it's because you're a legend. That's why, sir.
I'm just dumb and stupid, like I said.
And it all worked out for you, my friend. It all worked out for you. But yeah, we decided to cancel the tailgate that day because it was too cold and we didn't want to drag our kids out there. We didn't want to get out there. It was Christmas. We're like, you want to know what? Fuck it. We're going to cancel it. And we got some shit from some people. But
you said 1st and 10 tailgate. Is that the one that Don goes to?
Don hangs out with us occasionally.
Okay.
Don used to go to the Chicago Bears tailgating group with Timmy and the Bus in the past, but I think he's mostly in the South lot now with Paul and Ben for most games.
Yeah, Paul and Ben and Don. That's where I was going to be, but they sort of canceled, and I ended up with someone else with a small group.
Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah, it was so cold that day, man. What a horrible game to begin with. And the only thing I missed out on was hanging out with you, sir. That's the one thing I was looking forward to that day. But hey, here we are today, and that's all that matters, right?
So what do you? How we got to bring it up to date here now?
Yeah.
How are we looking for Buffalo this season? It's been kind of a weird off season. I mean, you still got one of the best quarterbacks in football, but a lot of trades, a lot of guys moving. Stephon Diggs gone. It's been an interesting off season for them.
Yeah, I'm not panicking at all. I think our team's going to be fine, but then I'm the person who's in a constant state of denial. Diggs doesn't bother me that he's gone. I think Diggs was starting to age out. He used to depend on a hitch play, get 7 or 8 yards on it. Everyone thinks about the long bomb, but he was losing that. And we got one receiver I'm watching really good. He's been on our team for 2 years, Khalil Shakir. And I think that guy is going to be a name that you're going to start hearing about. We got a Pro Bowl running back. I just think we have a great team. I'm not worried at all.
Good.
Like always, I think we're going to be 17-0 and win the Super Bowl.
I love your optimism, Ken. It's just the best, dude. You guys do have a tough schedule, man, and
We do, yeah.
You always seem to get stuck behind Kermit the Frog every year, my friend. I do want to say, though, that 2-3 years ago now, the AFC Championship game, the Bills versus the Chiefs, the shootout that went into overtime was probably the best NFL game I think I may have ever watched, my friend. And you guys lost, obviously, because of a default overtime rule. But, man, what a football game. That was a football game, dude. So how do you guys feel being in Buffalo in the AFC now with the new Tom Brady on board, Mr. Patrick Mahomes, to try and take down?
Yeah, we just kept seeing to shake those Hall of Fame quarterbacks who just continuously ruin us. Mahomes. We always beat them in the regular season, by the way. It's only the playoffs that we seem to have a little bit of an issue. But before that, Brady. Before that, Marino. I mean, it just keeps going back.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, obviously this game coming up is a preseason game. You might see the starters for a couple sets of downs, nothing too crazy. Anything in particular you're looking for out of this game? Any one particular person you're looking for in this game?
Not really, because I really don't think anyone who's going to play in this game is going to end up making our 53-man roster. That's the way preseason games are going lately.
Yep.
It's only been the last 5 or 6 years it's like that, but I miss the days when they play the starters in the first quarter in the first game, half for the second one, 3/4 for the third, back into maybe 2 series from the fourth. You get to the home opener, and they look like a team. I mean, they're sharp. Everything's great for both sides. But right now, you get to that first game of the regular season, and the play looks so sloppy. It's like just play in the preseason. You risk injury, but you risk those first couple of games when you don't play your starters.
I mean, Ken, we hate the preseason here being Max. So we talk about it all the time. I mean, not just being a season ticket holder like you are in the preseason, but the waste of time of the games that mean nothing. Being such a longtime football fan, what's your thoughts on the preseason? How could they change it? How could they make it better? What alterations could they make at this point?
Well, I don't like preseason at all. I call that just practice tailgating as a fan. But the only way I think you can make them better is to force the teams to actually play their players again like they used to. Risk the injury, but make sure we come out in week 1 and all the teams look sharp and not ring rust.
Yeah, I totally understand both ends of that argument. But then again, you lose your star quarterback. Let's just say us with Caleb Williams, where our whole season's riding on this guy's shoulder, and he goes out there the first play like Aaron Rodgers did last year in a preseason game and tears his ACL. Then the whole season shot over a game that doesn't matter. So I definitely get both ends, man. I just don't know what the happy medium here is.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping you were going to figure it out for us and tell us.
That was actually right in front of me in the end zone over that. It was an Achilles tendon, and he'd been having trouble with his calf that whole preseason. They may have detected that something was going to go if he actually, played a few snaps once in a while and taken care of it before it actually snapped. But who knows? It's an argument that goes back and forth. getting reps in versus potential injury.
Well, I
go with I'd rather risk the injury and come out sharp than come out stale. But that's just me.
Well, we hate preseason here in Chicago because we've never had a Jim Kelly or a Josh Allen as of now. So every year we have to hear about our third string quarterback. This is going to be the guy.
You must have forgot about Jim McMahon, or you don't count him, or you're too young.
He wasn't as good as you think he is.
Dude, everyone loves Jim McMahon. I love Jim McMahon too, but he was more of an attitude and a punky QB. But 85 season, he was injured.
He was a fine QB. I guess my point that I'm making to you is we never had a Hall of Fame quarterback here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ever. Jim McMahon was a nice story. He's a good guy, and he was surrounded by one of the best teams of all time. But we've never had a guy that actually made our team better. We just had a really good team with a decent quarterback.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that statement. I'll agree with that. Being a Buffalo Bills fan, man, I always ask all of our Buffalo Bills fans I ever talk to this because you guys experienced something that no other franchise has ever experienced in the NFL, and that was the 90s, the back-to-back lost Super Bowls, my friend.
Right.
How did that affect you as a fan, your fandom? Like, I put myself in that scenario. Like, the Bears go to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row and lose all three. Like, dude, I would be destroyed. My soul would be destroyed. Like, what is that like as a fan, my friend? I couldn't even imagine, especially Jim Kelly being the quarterback at the helm of all those and such a great teams and so many Hall of Fame players during that time.
You'd be even more crushed if you lost 4 in a row. You said 3.
Oh, yeah, 4 in a row. Yeah, 4.
It was 4.
Right. You're right.
Yeah, the first one was kind of crushing. As a fan, it didn't affect me at all. And to tell you the truth, knowing everyone in Buffalo, knowing the people, everyone was disappointed. They were crushed, but they were never angry at the team, and they never gave up. But unfortunately, by the time we started getting to the last Super Bowl, people started getting used to losing Super Bowls. I remember the 4th one in Atlanta. We're all leaving, going down whatever their main street is away from the stadium. And there was big chants coming from the Buffalo fans. One for the thumb. That was supposed to signify our 5th in a row next year. So people were already looking forward to the 5th one rather than being crushed from losing the 4th one. That bothered me a little bit myself. But
I just couldn't imagine, my friend. I just couldn't imagine. Well, Pinto Ron, I appreciate you coming on the show, my friend. Like I said, you're an absolute legend. So many fun stories. You can probably sit here for days and tell us about all your great tailgating experiences. Definitely want to get out there in the parking lot and experience the mailbox chicken and the pizza oven and the pinto burgers, dude. It's on my bucket list, my friend. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen.
All right.
I appreciate you taking the time and coming on, sir.
Thanks,
and
man.
You have fun at the game on Saturday and have fun with the rest of your season. Go Buffalo, buddy.
All right. Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, again. Have a good night, bud.
All right.
Legend. Stuff legend is made of, my friend.
No doubt.
Super happy to have him on the show. Been looking forward to him for a while, dude. He's just up there with like Frozen Tundra and Bearman, all those guys, and definitely brought the whole legendary tailgating shenanigans to the game of football, dude. So can't wait to one day go out there and party with him.
Yeah, just Buffalo Bills parking lots in general.
I forgot to ask about the tables. God damn it. I don't think it was him. I don't think it had anything to do with the tables.
He's a little classier than tables.
Yeah, he's a little classier. He's a mustard. He's catching a mustard guy. All right, guys. Tonight, right after the show, coming up in 17 minutes, we have the first episode of Hard Knocks tonight. And I know everyone out there is as excited as I am to watch it. Can't wait till after the show to get out there and see what's going on with our Bears in training camp. Here's a little preview of that.
I can see the operation, the execution. Keep it simple and be consistent. We're going to give you the keys. You go and drive it. This is your team.
You better come to play. Rough and tough monsters of the Midway.
You're going to get hit, and it's going to hurt.
I like this kind of body.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
Unequivocally, we have the right set of individuals.
That's what we do.
They're going to take us to the next level.
fist bumps. Tuck it up, tuck it up. Super excited. So that's coming on tonight, 8 o'clock on HBO Max. So find your illegal stream somewhere online, my friend, if you don't have it. Other than that, one thing I got to announce is Maxwell and I are going to be doing our first live show at Bedrocks this December for the 49ers game. It's going to be an 11 o'clock start, but the game doesn't start till 3:30. We're going to have a special guest Bears meet and greet, pregame live podcast, drink specials, food specials. Save the day in your calendar. Come on out to Bedrocks and Shorewood. Give First Time with Foz a little live podcast support. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Again, that's Sunday, December 8th, guys. So other than that, next week we'll be breaking down the Bears game from this Saturday. Probably, again, not too much to talk about. Really hope we just see Caleb Williams get out there and throw a couple passes.
A healthy O-line would be nice to see,
Healthy
too.
O-line, a couple good runs, maybe some good receptions. Other than that, they're probably going to be evaluating third and fourth stringers still this game.
Yeah, I don't expect maybe, especially if the offensive line is going to be over there, 2 drives maybe.
100%. Other than that, next week we're going to be getting ready for the Bears versus the Bengals at Soldier Field, which is going to be our first preseason game. I will be at that game. I'm super excited. Should probably see a lot more reps out of the starters within that game. And coming on that game, I'm going to have Corey Moreland, who is the Bengals Warrior. If you guys know the Bengals Warrior, he's a great guy. He'll be on the show with us then. Other than that, guys, appreciate you guys coming out for the show tonight. Get your popcorn, get your beer ready. Hardknocks is on next. And as always, bear down, baby.
Bears.
Thank you, and go Bears!
Bear down!
From Harrison and Wabash we rise, tailgating with excitement under the skies. The Foz is leading the way with Billy from the van, rapping jazz, dancing to the Chicago plan. Surrender man goes to stealing the beat. Habibi Bear and Mama Bear never defeat. Deaf Bear and also roaring loud, and the stereo lurking among the crowd. The Hallis Tower, a symbol of might. Chicago handshake under the night. What is your profession? We ask. Legends of the game, a formidable task. Devin has to speed, behold. Mongo and Dadam will never fold. Sweetness and Peter, heart of steel. Dick Buckers and Mike Dicker, the real deal. Super fans cheering with passion in the air. From Harrison.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villian Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla Hour, Broseph Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MManiacs. The nightly shows are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports, Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle Podcast, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, Off the Rails, and Detroit Lions News. Hope you like all the shows. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment.